It was only a couple of weeks ago when a man wanted on a felony warrant was fighting with the police, went to his vehicle, and the police said, drop the knife, and then fired into his back 7 times. The man obviously was Jacob Blake. Protests erupted. Riots erupted. NFL players put the name Jacob Blake on their helmet. You have to wonder, many of these people on the left, why they would support the criminal in this circumstance. Sure, he got seriously injured, and I'm truly am sad to hear it. I don't want anybody getting hurt. I say it all the time. But the police need to be able to make arrests. We need people to be able to enforce the law. Too many young people in this country are pampered and don't understand what the world is really like. They think they're so smart. They're convinced if I was in this situation, I would know exactly what to do. And now we have this nightmarish video, a graphic video of 2 cops being shot who did everything right. And one of them was killed. They were both, I believe, shot in the head. Fortunately, one of the officers, I believe, has survived, but with horrifying injuries. Here's part of the video. I can't play the video for you. It's just a bit of a traffic stop. Jessica O'Donnell says, warning, very graphic video released from the shooting of 2 Tulsa officers in a traffic stop. One of them died. This is what they face on a daily basis. Tasers and pepper spray often don't work. Remember this scene when you are quick to condemn officers in escalating situations. And here's the story from Oklahoma's News 9. Body camera video of Tulsa officer shooting released. I watched the press conference. And I tell you what, man, if you watch this video and it doesn't leave you shocked, rocked to your core, then I don't know. Then you need, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything beyond that. I just say any rational, regular human being would hear the scream of this officer as he is shot in the chest and the head. And I'll tell you, man, in this video, these cops pulled a guy over because he had expired tags and plates. He made an illegal left turn, an illegal lane change. He failed to yield. The cops wanted to pull him over, and they did. And they wanted to investigate further. They gave him a lawful order 40 times to exit the vehicle. They used taser. They used pepper spray. And they tried to get this guy out of his car. And this guy kept whining, "You're violating my rights. You won't read me my rights. Help, help." And as he was doing this, what he was actually doing as he feigned the victim was he reached under the seat of his car and grabbed a gun. When the 2 cops tried pulling him out, he fired into one of the officers, and the other cop, from which we see the body camera footage, did not know what was happening. And you can hear him say something like, "What the?" And then the guy turns and fires into him. You hear the officer fall down screaming. All right. The cops did everything right. They used pepper spray. They were investigating this guy. They said they were going to tow his car. He had expired tags and plates. I mean, don't we want cops to get erratic drivers who aren't following the law off the street? Now, here's the craziest bit of it. The dude you can see in this photo. After he put a bullet through the head of one of the officers, he turns to the cop who's on the ground, desperately crawling away, and he puts 2 hands on the gun, and he aims for the cop's head and puts a bullet in his head. And this cop, I believe, survived. And this video was released, and it is shocking. It is what nightmares are made of. And I believe that, when videos like this come out, I always watch them. I always do. Because I won't pretend the world is rainbows and candy canes. This guy was screaming, "Help, you're violating my rights," as he reached for a gun. And in what I could only describe as an act of pure malevolence and evil, after he already put the officer down with a chest wound, a bullet to his chest, he carefully grips the gun, aims it at his head, and fires again. His intent was not to escape. His intent was not to merely get away. His intent was to make sure he executed these cops who did everything right. Oh, the cops could have approached with their guns drawn and reckless disregard for the well-being of the people around them and those that they're trying to enforce, those they're trying to get to comply. But these cops used pepper spray. They used tasers. And the taser failed on the guy. And the pepper spray failed on the guy. And I tell people this all the time. They don't get it. Pepper spray doesn't work on a lot of people. And they think it's an effective way for cops to gain compliance. Yes, some people will get pepper sprayed and freak out and fall down. Some people won't. Some people will just be blinded with rage. Some people were planning on killing the cops the entire time. And this video comes out as more video is surfacing of the ambush in Los Angeles, the two sheriff's deputies. A guy runs up to the car, and you probably saw it. So I'll tell you this. As I sat here watching, and not the first video I've ever seen, watching a video of cops, they're yelling at the guy. They're screaming, get out of the car. They told him 40 times. And I'm like, dude, get out of the car, man. And the guy says, I don't want to go to jail. He didn't want to go to jail. You know, I think about this, and I feel like there's a scale. You're a guy. You got expired plates. You're doing something illegal. You get pulled over. You want to escape. And this guy has taken it upon himself. He's decided he's going to use lethal force against these cops in order to escape. But where is that line? In what state of mind? He already shot the cops. He was clear to leave. They weren't going to be able to do anything against him. One cop was dead. The other cop is on the ground screaming with a wound in his chest. And this guy, he didn't want to escape. He had every opportunity to hop back in his car and just get out. No, instead, he slowly turns to the cop, and he wants to use his time not to escape, but to just put a bullet in that cop's head. The cop who was just trying to enforce the law. So you think about Jacob Blake, and you wonder why it is the cop fired 7 times. I don't. He was reaching for a knife. He said he had a knife. They found a knife. He was going for a knife? So are these cops just supposed to ignore the real threat to their lives? I remember that live stream from one of these protests from the incident that just happened in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. A crazed man bursts from the house swinging a knife, and the cop runs, turns, and then fires the guy, killing him. This live streamer says cops are risking their lives. They should accept that. No, they shouldn't. They're people. We asked them to do this. We tell these officers, do us the favor and take a dangerous job that pays very little with crappy hours, and you will get very little respect from people. In fact, everyone hates you. And then when you do everything right and they ban the chokeholds and they tell you you have to use the taser and the pepper spray, and then a man jumps out and takes the time to grip the gun to point at your head, the reward you get is an NFL that will put the name of the criminals on their helmets. How absolutely deranged. Brett Weinstein tweeted, this video exactly illustrates many points Sam Harris made in the, quote, can we pull back from the brink episode of Making Sense. For society to function, the police must be able to make arrests. Resisting arrest is a serious crime, even for an otherwise innocent person. I completely agree. You do not win the fight fighting with cops. You may be innocent. I have been wrongly accused. I've had cops plant drugs in my car. No joke. And I only got let go because my dad was a firefighter. Talk about corrupt and gross. Yep. I have had more negative interactions with police than positive ones. That's a fact. And I mean, it's fair to say because most of the interactions you have are you're getting a ticket. You're like, I'm getting a ticket. It sucks. Yep. Well, you know, sometimes you get tickets. I've had 2 tickets that were bunk that I didn't do anything wrong. And that's 2 of 3 tickets I've had in my life. Yeah, I've had only a small handful of tickets in my life. I don't like the idea that, you know, a cop found my dad's firefighter emblem in my car and was planning on planting drugs on my car. It's a true story. I kid you not. He was trying to, and he demanded I confess, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then another cop found the emblem and was like, who's the firefighter? I said, my dad. He uncuffed me, said, go home. Professional courtesy, I guess. I'm not a fan of that. But listen, that's not every cop. I have been saved by a cop from a mugging once, and I was like, I'm eternally grateful. I had a cabbie once. I was with my brother. Cabbie sideswiped us, came and hit us in the side, And the cops came and helped us out and said, we're sorry this happened to you guys. And they were very nice. I had someone try to break into my home. The cops came and got the information, made sure we were all safe. I was eternally grateful that these guys were rushing to a scene where they knew at 4 a.m. a guy tried breaking into a house. And guess what that means? They are risking their lives. And I asked them to do it. I asked them to. These cops go to stop somebody because we as a society ask them to do it. And now we as a society are facing this insane conflict where the far left is accusing the cops of wrongdoing when they were asked to do this. Why? Because some cops are bad. Because some people are bad. And there are cultural problems in many departments. Absolutely. And there are systemic issues in policing. What I mean by that is the system is at fault, not the officer. That's what I'm trying to say. If we tell cops this is how you should respond and it results frequently in bad things, well, then we've got a system that's at fault. In the case of Breonna Taylor and many other people who have died, it's because we have created this system and asked people to adhere to it. How absurd is it then that we would ask officers to do a job and then complain when they are at risk and defend themselves? This results in horrifying videos. There's a video of a guy, a black man, gets pulled over. And the cop gets out and says, show me your ID. And the guy says, okay. He reaches onto his seat to grab it, and the cop yells no, and then shoots the guy. And then you're thinking like, what? You asked the guy to get his ID. And that's because a guy got scared. And it's because things like this happen. Lunatics will sometimes kill you. So we can't, what do? There's no clean solution. There's no clean solution. You've got a guy who intended to kill. And he did. And you have other people who are innocent, who did nothing wrong, but the cops panic either way. The system it's got holes. They need to be fixed. How do we fix it? I'm not the expert. I don't know. But I highlight this video to point out that all of these protests, all of these marches, all of this rioting over criminals, I don't want them to get hurt. I don't care if they broke the law. I don't want people getting hurt. But people would riot for them. What about these two guys? Nobody's going to go out. Nobody's going to smash windows. Nobody, well, maybe people will march this time. These guys, I don't know. They deserve something. To see a video of the cops who did it right, to be punished so brazenly by this psychopath. To see the criminals get their names stripped across the helmet of an NFL player. No way, man. I'll tell you this. I'll leave it at this. I don't have the solutions. I'm not going to pretend to have the solutions. Defunding the police is certainly not a solution. But we are a society that has asked these people to don the uniform and go out and protect us. And now all these people are complaining because some people didn't do it a good enough job. I want to see what they have to say about this shooting. I'll leave it there, man. To the officer who survived, I seriously hope he makes a full recovery. And I hope people you talk about this. Talk about it more. A couple more segments coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.